Ahab, and he was king of the which empire? The Northern Empire, the Northern Kingdom. And is there a lot said about Ahab? There is a lot said about him, and God basically uses him as the prime example of all the kings of Israel. And every one of them were what? Evil. Not one righteous king reigned in the northern kingdom. 19 kings, 19 evil, wicked men. And because of that, they were carried into Assyrian captivity early, were they not? They would be carried away into captivity in 722 BC, and we will read about that in the book of 2 Kings. Very, very interesting. But right now we are still focused on the life of Ahab. Who's his wife? She's just a precious woman. Jezebel. Yeah, just precious as she can be, isn't she? That is one wicked lady. But very, very interesting. This is a sad account, is it not? Very sad. Who has a title for this particular section? Glenn?
Namath refuses to give Ahab his vineyard and is killed.
Okay, that's a good long title, but it summarizes it all, doesn't it? Naboth refuses to give Ahab his vineyard and is killed. Anybody else? All right, Abby? Oh, the greedy, the evil, and the victim. You can see that on ABC Friday night at 8 o'clock. Okay? Friday night at 8 o'clock. That's pretty good, isn't it? Hal?
Conspiracy of Jezebel.
Okay, the conspiracy of who? Jezebel. She was involved in this, wasn't she? Pretty heavily. Anybody else want to give a title? Nobody? Okay, Glory? Naboth's vineyard. And it's all about that, is it not? I just titled it this way: The Horrible Death of Naboth. The horrible death of Naboth. And it is a horrible death, is it not? In fact, his life comes to an end quite abruptly and very, very quickly. And he did not get to live out his full, healthy life, did he? Very, very evil. Point number 1, Ahab's offer refused by Naboth. Number 2, Ahab is offended by Naboth's rejection. Number 3, Jezebel's observance of Ahab. What's wrong with you? That's about what she said, wasn't it? What's wrong with you? Number 4, Jezebel's order to the elders and nobles. Number 5, the elders and nobles obey the queen, don't they? And lastly, Ahab occupies Naboth's vineyard. Boy, this is a wicked, wicked story right here. Sad, isn't it? A very sad story. So let's go through it and talk a little bit about it. What individual possessed a vineyard which was in Jezreel? Naboth. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth, the Jezreelite, had a vineyard which was in Jezreel. The little word Naboth means fruits. Very good, you looked that up. Boy, she's getting gooder and gooder, isn't she? It means fruits. He was from the town of Jezreel. Ahab had chosen this particular town in which to build his palace. Okay, he had a palace that would be in Samaria. Okay, that was the capital city of the Northern Empire. And now he also had this kind of summer home, this retreat home, Camp David, like a place where he would go and he would spend some time as well. And so he had his palace there. So it was not uncommon for them to build several palaces throughout the empire. And this is one of the places where he had built one of his palaces. Let me ask you this. The fact that it was located right next door to Naboth's vineyard, would that increase the value of Naboth's vineyard? Oh yeah. Folks, you let the king move in next to you. Well, you about to get an uppity place in the city, aren't you? Not too many people live next to the king, and that's where he built. That's where the palace was built, right by it. Whose palace was the vineyard? Hard by. I love that word, don't you? Hard by. See, I know the people who translated the King James Version were country people. Because they just, victuals, built it hard by. Who talks like that? Country people talk like that. And I'm sure that Naboth was probably glad to have the king living close by. Increase the value of property. You have the protection there also of the king who is living there. So, you feel like you're going to be pretty safe if the king is living right beside you. And Ahab spake to Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a blank of blanks, a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house. Now remember, it is now, at this moment, a what? It's a vineyard, folks. Were vineyards profitable for the children of Israel? Well, extremely so. They produced food for the family, both to eat and to drink. They were also sources of income for the family as well. So a vineyard was a very high-prized item in the nation of Israel. But guess what Naboth wanted to do? I want to put in my little herb garden. Okay? Precious little Ahab and his herb garden. And he says, because it is blank unto my house, it is near unto my house. Kings don't like to go far. God forbid he'd have to take a chariot out to the countryside to get his herbs. It was right there. It was convenient, wasn't it? And he liked it there. I put this lesson. The desires of a king's heart can be very dangerous things. Isn't that true? Because when you're in the position of king, you're in the position of ruler, and you desire something, and especially a king, folks. A king, there's no questions asked, okay? But if you're a true king, there's no questions asked. You have total, absolute authority over the nation, okay? And if anybody stands in your way, guess what? You can do whatever you need to eliminate the threat. And that was the position that Ahab was in. He was the absolute monarch of the empire. And, if he gets a desire in his head and he wants it, there is absolutely nothing that will stop him from having it if he wants it. Okay? Nothing that can stop him. Very, very interesting. What two things did Ahab offer in exchange for the vineyard? Number one, a better vineyard. Number two, the worth of it in money. Now, I know we hate Ahab, right? We don't like Ahab too much. He's kind of an evil man. But does it appear as if he's being honest in this transaction? Appears that way to me. Doesn't it you? Here's a man who has a vineyard. It isn't like he goes and says, I'm going to take it from you regardless. I will give you a better vineyard. Wow. Now, I'd want to see that vineyard before I got it. But a better vineyard than the one you already have. What if this one's very productive? What if it's very profitable? And now he's willing to give you one even better. Man, that's tempting, isn't it? And sometimes individuals like to move real estate into cash, don't they? Because sometimes cash is more valuable than the real estate. And he's offered him full cash price for the property. That's just, it seems right now that, there's no real evil in the heart of Ahab. He saw something, he wanted it, and he's being very honest as far as a businessman is concerned, trying to get the garden that he desires for himself. So he surely wasn't trying to steal it. At least it doesn't appear that he's trying to steal it in any way. I put down here, Naboth could have profited from the exchange with Ahab, couldn't he? And have you ever heard this expression? Everything is always for sale. You ever heard that? I've heard that all my life. Everything is always for sale. What does that mean? Yes, sir. If somebody's got the right price, right? My little truck out there is not for sale. Somebody wants to buy it for $100,000, it's yours. Okay? So, everything is always for sale. There was a man, every time he bought a house, he immediately put a for sale sign on his house. Immediately. And he always put the price at 3 times market value. Okay? One time, he sold his house for 3 times the market value. Because somebody what? Somebody wanted it. Everything is always for sale. And you would think that maybe that's the way Ahab was, right? This thing's got to be for sale. If I offer him a better vineyard, if I offer him enough money, surely this thing is for sale. But he found out differently, didn't he? Naboth gave Ahab his vineyard in exchange for another vineyard. True or false? False. And Naboth said to Ahab, "The Lord forbid it me." Let me ask you, is that a bold statement to make to a king? Yeah, you are not to about, it's bad enough to have to say it to your neighbor. It's even worse to have to say it to your neighbor who is a king. God, the Lord forbid it me. I love the first 2 words though, right? The Lord forbid it me. Okay, this isn't my decision. Okay, this has the reason I'm not selling it goes higher than me. Okay, there's an authority higher above me that will not allow me to sell this. How did Naboth describe the vineyard to Ahab? Yes, that I should give it thee, the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. Okay, the inheritance of my fathers. Listen to Numbers 36, verse 7. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe. For every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. When the children of Israel conquered the land of Canaan, they divided that land among the 12 tribes, did they not? And folks, those 12 parcels of land were supposed to stay with each tribe as far as God was concerned. They were never, ever, ever to be sold away. Now, occasionally, the Lord would allow an exception. Okay? Let's assume for a moment that I got in heavy, heavy debt. Right? And I've got this parcel of land. Well, I could go and I could sell that land and I could take the money and pay off my debt. In the year of Jubilee, that's the 50th year, that land immediately reverted back to my family. Okay? Immediately reverted back to my family. Because God wanted that land, but the law was you don't do what? You don't give away your inheritance. Okay? And that's the reason that Naboth was so, strong about this. The Lord forbids me to do this. It's not me. I can't do this. Wow. It appears that Ahab wanted him to sell the property as a forever purchase. See? He wasn't going to get it back. His family wasn't going to get it back. Now remember, Ahab, he could care less about the law. Isn't that true? He's already manifested that. He's changed. The worship of Israel's been changed. The priesthood's been changed. Everything about God's law has been changed. Ahab could care less about the law, and so if he'd have sold it to him, he wouldn't care about it. I did write this down though. Naboth knew and reverenced the inheritance aspect of the law. Don't you love it when there's just Naboth is just a regular, average guy in Israel, isn't he? He just happens to live by the palace. But he's just a regular guy in Israel. And now the king comes to him. Sell me your property. I'll give you good money for it. I'll give you a better vineyard. Whatever it takes, let's make this transaction. I can't do it. And the reason I can't do it is what? God said. I love when average, everyday people live their lives in harmony with the will of God. You know that? Not just rulers, not just preachers, not just elders, not just regular, ordinary people make their decisions based on what? Based on God and what God said in His law. Those are good people. You know what? We're dealing with a man who's a good man right here. Now, I've got a trick question in this next question. Okay? What is the one-word description of Ahab's reaction to Naboth's refusal to sell his vineyard? Huh? Vexed. Ah, yes. I was wondering which one of those two words you would choose. Okay? And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. He was displeased. His displeasure caused him to be what? Caused him to be heavy, didn't it? Caused him to be heavy. That little word displeased means this, out of humor. I love that part. That's the flip side of the coin, okay? When a person's angry, you know, when you see somebody angry, what you need to do is walk up to them, well, I can see you're out of humor. You know, that'll really tickle him to death, won't it? You know, that'll cheer him up. But that's what you are, aren't you? I'm just totally out of humor. I'm just what? Plumb mad. And that's where he was, angry, vexed, raging. Anger was his emotional feeling. Heavy was how he felt how? Emotionally. Folks, he was depressed. He was heavy. Anybody ever suffered depression a little bit? If you ever suffered a little depression, that's exactly how you feel, don't you? Heavy. You feel like a weight is on you. And that's how badly Ahab wanted this vineyard. Okay, he just had his sights set on it and wasn't going to be able to get it. What three actions describe Ahab's behaviors because of his refusal? Number one, he laid him down on his bed. Number two, turned away his face, most likely from the D-O-O-R. Right? He's in his room, lays down on his bed. Anybody walks into the door, I don't want to see you. Right? And I don't want you to what? See me. And number three, would not eat bread. Poor, pitiful Ahab. That's exactly what he's doing. He's just throwing a little baby fit, isn't he? You know, poor me. Naboth won't give me my vineyard. I want a vineyard so bad. I offered him money. Oh, man, can you imagine? Here's a king, guys. Okay? We're talking about the sovereign of the nation, are we not? The monarch, the absolute ruler. And where is he? All bundled up on his bed, crying because he can't get a vineyard. This man can buy a vineyard anywhere in the world he wants one. Can he? Except Naboth's. Man, unbelievable. What question did Jezebel ask Ahab when she saw him? Can you imagine that? Jezebel, your wife walks in and catches you pouting. There's a good one. That's going to make you a man, isn't it? You know, unbelievable. Why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread? I bet she had cooked him a loaf, don't you? And was bringing it to him because she loved him so much. And she brings the bread in. It smells so good. It's buttered. She even got a little olive oil on the side. And guess what he said? I ain't eating that. Take that mess away from me. Well, why is thy spirit so sad that thou wouldst not eat my bread? You always eat my bread. You love my bread. I'm just messing with y'all now. But you know, we can detect things of people by the way they behave, can't we? You know? And she did detect that he was not doing well at this particular time. True or false? Ahab lied to Jezebel as to why he was so upset. Ah, isn't that crazy? False. And he said unto her, now remember, why is thy spirit so sad? Because I speak unto Naboth the Israelite. And said unto him, give me my vineyard for money, else if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give me my vineyard. You poor little sad king. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It is unbelievable. I just put this down. It's sad to hear Ahab's words. Not because Naboth refused to give him the vineyard, but because he sounds like a child who pouts because he cannot get what he wants. Now, I say that, and you would be surprised how many members of the church pout because they can't get what they want. You know what? They'll quit the church because they can't get what they want. And guess what that is? That's pulling an Ahab. Well, I can see you've pulled an Ahab. You know, that's what you need to, we just need to call them and tell them, what you doing, pulling an Ahab? You know, crying in your little milk because you didn't get exactly what you want, folks. The church is not here to give us exactly what we want. You know that? And we need to grow up and, not pull the Ahab card. Goodness. And Jezebel, his wife, said unto him, dost thou not now blank the kingdom of Israel? Govern the kingdom of Israel. She's having to remind him of who he is, isn't she? Remember, she didn't say Naboth and the council. She didn't say Naboth and the Congress. She didn't say Naboth and she says, don't you know you govern this land? That's the way it is with a king, folks. There are no others who govern the land. As a king, he has absolute authority over his citizens. What three things did Jezebel tell Ahab to do? Number one, arise. Number two, eat bread. Number three, and let thine heart be merry. I wonder how hard that was for Ahab. Because right now, he doesn't really know what she's about to do. Okay? She just tells him what? She just tells him what all women would tell her husband. Get up. Eat some bread. Get happy, son. You know. I'm just kidding, ladies. But that's what you tell your husbands, isn't it? You know. Quit acting like a kid. Quit acting like a baby. Get up, eat some bread, and be happy. But she has a plan, doesn't she? Because she promises what? I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. Now she's who? She's queen. Folks, let me tell you something. If king doesn't act, queen can. You know that? Because that's the way it is in a monarchy. If the king doesn't act, the queen can. These 6 things doth the Lord hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, listen to him, and an evil heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. That's Proverbs 6, beginning of verse 16. Goes all the way to 19. One of the things that God hates is an evil heart that devises wicked imaginations. And guess what? Jezebel is right in the middle of it. Isn't she? Her wheels are turning, and she's made a promise to her husband. I will get you this vineyard. Doesn't matter what I got to do. Doesn't matter what my plan is. I will definitely get you this vineyard. Be careful of wicked imaginations, guys. God despises those things. True or false? Jezebel wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with a seal. True. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with a seal, the Bible says. Unbelievable. Here's a question. Was that in the authority of a queen? No. No. This is not in the authority of a queen. Now, when a king doesn't act, the queen will, but it doesn't mean that she's in her bounds of authority to do it. And not only so, she sends it out in whose name? His name. That's what's amazing. Now think about that. You receive a letter, and who signed it? Ahab signed it, right? Yeah, your boss, the king. And it's stamped before you open it, and guess whose stamp is on there? That's the king. What would you think? The king sent this. Wouldn't you? You'd have no reason to doubt that, no reason to question that. Okay? So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is, maybe these elders and nobles didn't know better. Look at Chateau. She can't hardly stand it. She's about to come out of her seat already. To whom did Jezebel send the letters? Yes, the elders and to the nobles that were in the city. Man, the elders and the nobles. One man referred to the nobles as the freemen of the city. Okay, F-R-E-E-M-E-N, the freemen of the city. The word means white, pure, cleansing, shining power. These were probably the ones who were very noble in rank. Okay, the very wealthy, the powerful. Okay, they would be the individuals who would be at the gate with the elders. Okay, kind of like a city council. Okay, the king isn't going to do it himself. He's just going to have somebody else do his dirty work for him. Right? And so these nobles and all were there in the city of Jezreel, and she could send letters to them to do the things that needed to be done. And she wrote letters saying, proclaim a blank, a fast, and set Naboth on blank among the people, on high. Man, he was set on high among the people. That is not a good place to be, is it? What does that mean? What's the significance of being set on high? What in the world are they talking about? Huh? Put it in a prominent place so he can be seen. Okay. What's about to happen? They're going to court. That's where they're going, right? And he's going to have individuals testify against him, right? Guess where he's going to be? He's going to be sitting up front in front of everybody while this court's being taken care of. He's on what? He's on high. He's the one that all focus is set upon. Seat him at the head of the people. Bring him to the court of justice as a defendant before all. Wow. Can you imagine how Naboth felt when he got the knock on the door? Can you imagine? They probably didn't just send, a real nice lady to deliver the letter. Do you think? There's probably a company of men who delivered that letter, wasn't it? And he opens that letter and he finds that I've got a court date and I'm being charged of crimes here in the city of Jezreel, my own home. He doesn't even know what. He doesn't even know what he's done. He just knows I got to be at court. Unbelievable. What kind of men did she command to witness against Naboth? Yes. And set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him. Sons of Belial. That little word Belial means worthless, without profit. Clark defines them as this way: men who scruple to tell lies and take false oath. How many of you in here could care less about human life? Is there anybody in here who could just care less about human life? Nobody? I'm glad nobody raised their hand. So all of us think life is precious. And we need to do all we can possibly do to preserve a life if we can. Okay, especially an innocent life, right? The reason I say that is this: a son of Belial, a worthless, vile individual, could care less about life. Didn't care about it whatsoever. If this is going to cause this man to die, I don't care. Okay? And you and I, we can't even think like that. Can we? I can't. And yet there's people in this world, folks, who are that way. Did you know that? They could care less about human life. Man. What was the charge they were to make against Naboth? That is blaspheme God and the king. That's 2 big blasphemies. Isn't it? You can't get any higher on the blasphemy scale, folks. I wrote this down. The reality is that he upheld the Word of God. Isn't that amazing? He is the only one in this particular scenario who is honoring God. Because he won't sell his what? I won't sell my inheritance because God told me not to. And yet he's being charged with blasphemy against the very God he's trying to honor. Man. How true that is. Chateau said the very God that they don't even worship anymore. And so true that is. I put this too. Two, he angered the king who did not get the thing he desired. It's crazy. And yet he's being charged with blasphemy. Once the charge was made, what were they supposed to do? Oh, yes. And then carry him out and stone him that he may die. Man. Yes, sir.
So from what I understand, it was more than just Naboth's like that risk too, because then the inheritance would have passed down to his sons. So it looks like in 2 Kings, it says that his sons were killed as well.
Yep. Once a king gets after you, it's over for your whole family. You know. Right here in this text, though, he's focused solely on who? He's focused solely on Naboth right now, isn't he? And as far as the story is concerned, because he wants to know what happened to this innocent man. I wrote down this statement. A man lost his reputation and his life. A home lost a husband and a father. The community lost a good man. The nation of Israel lost a good citizen. Hopefully, heaven gained a saint. Isn't that true? Hopefully. I don't know Naboth's total spiritual condition. I do know that he honored God in this particular point, didn't he? The elders were just men and refused to comply with Jezebel's letter. False. And the men of his city and the elders and nobles who were the inhabitants in his city did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them. Well, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Now the key, though, is what? Should they have been suspect? Why should they have been suspect? I mean, the letter had the stamp of the king, had the signature of the king, but they still should have been suspect. Why? Because the letter specifically stated what? You find worthless men to testify against him. Now, folks, judges are supposed to carry out the law faithfully, aren't they? No respect of persons. And when they see deviations from what the law is supposed to be, they're supposed to protect the innocent, aren't they? These men should have known. And two, these were men of the city of what? Jezreel. Do you think they may have known Naboth? I don't know how many were on the council. Some of those men may have been close friends to Naboth. You know that? They may have done business with Naboth. He had a vineyard, didn't he? And so he would sell his goods and things. They may have even known this man. And if you know the man, there's no way he can be guilty of this crime. Dutch?
But they are the same men that allowed the nation of Israel to go so far the opposite of God's will in all of his other laws. Why would this minute piece of discretion bother them when nothing else has bothered them yet?
Oh yeah, but it just goes to show the corruption that was in the nation of Israel at this particular time. You know, guys, once the nation starts to become corrupt, it goes everywhere, doesn't it? And it's really sad.
Didn't she assign these elders, like in chapters before, that they assigned?
Well, there, as far as the worship people they would do, how the city council was actually chosen, you know they had close ties to this woman and to the king. Okay, they proclaimed a blank, and Naboth was set on what? They proclaimed a fast, and Naboth was set on high among the people. They could not find the two witnesses. Is that true? That's false. And there came in 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him. And the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth in the presence of the people, saying, "No, Naboth did blaspheme God and the king." There are always evil men to do the bidding of evil, folks. Always. You can always find them. Ask a couple of questions. How much do those 2 men get paid? And what promises were made to those 2 men? Wouldn't you like to know that? You know? These guys just don't get up there and just do it for free. I'd like to know what had been given to them, wouldn't you? Man, unbelievable. Instead of stoning Naboth, the elders shot him through with arrows. False. They carried out the king's wishes to the letter. Now I want you to note this next point. Once Naboth was dead, what report was sent to Jezebel? Then they sent to Jezebel saying, these men knew exactly where that letter came from. They didn't send the letter to Ahab. Now the letter said who? Signed by Ahab, sealed by the king's ring. They didn't write a letter back to Ahab. They wrote back to who? Oh, Jezzy. Unbelievable. They knew where that letter came from. When Jezebel learned Naboth was dead, what did she command Ahab to do? Yes, arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. Man. Here Ahab is. He gets the news. Right? Naboth's dead. All you need to do is go over there, get his vineyard, start to work on your herb garden. Right? Was he grieved that Naboth was dead? Now see, y'all are saying stuff. I don't know if you know that or not. Was he elated that he could now possess the garden? Did he fear Jezebel now more because of her wickedness? Did he have respect for Jezebel as a powerful ruler? Folks, when folks do dastardly deeds, there are always reactions to those deeds in the mind of a person. I don't know what in the world Ahab was thinking. Okay? He may have, Ahab is led by the nose by Jezebel constantly. You know that? And he may have gone over to that garden and taken possession of it, and he may have had a little bit of regret and a little bit of hurt in his heart for that man. May have. Even though he still did it. Okay? I don't know. But he'd been promised it and he got it, didn't he? Man. True or false? When Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, he no longer would have possession of the vineyard. That's false. He took possession, didn't he? Okay? Regardless of how he felt. Even if he felt sorry for Naboth, he still took possession of it. And evil, wicked man. Questions, comments, anybody? We're about to quit.
Do you think he knew that Jezebel was behind all of it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This thing was carried out big time in Jezreel. The elders, the nobles, a trial. This thing went citywide. Yeah. I'm going to get you your garden. You got it. Well, where's Naboth? Well, he dead. Well, what happened to him? Don't worry about that. We took care of that. I guarantee you found out. Russell?
I also drew a lot of parallels between his trial and the trial of Jesus as well, with the false witnesses, making the public execution, fraudulent trial, and all that stuff. They were both just doing God's word, what God wanted them to do, and through envy and selfishness and their fear even.
Oh, yeah. Tons of it. Yep. There's anytime you have wicked men killing innocent life, you've got some parallels with Jesus, don't you? And that's what we have here. And it's bad. Questions, comments? Anybody else? Nobody? All right, guys, we're done with Bible class. Got worship still. Thank you, sir.